Imagine this. You're chasing something, a dream, a relationship, a breakthrough. The more you reach for it, the more it seems to slip further away. Like running after your own shadow, the harder you push, the more exhausted you become. But what if the secret isn't in chasing harder? What if letting go is what actually brings it closer? What if manifestation isn't about gripping tighter, but aligning deeper? That's what today's video is about. 10 powerful principles to help you relax your nervous system, center your mind, and attract what you want without burning out or forcing the outcome. These are not fluffy tips. They're rooted in Stoic philosophy, backed by modern neuroscience, and refined through real-world inner work. Let's get into it. I want to tell you a story. A few years ago, I met a guy named Alex. He was a brilliant musician, raw talent, beautiful sound, but totally lost. He had the music, but no audience. No clarity, no traction, just a quiet kind of frustration. One night, sitting on his porch, he told me, "I feel like I'm shouting into a void. My music deserves to be heard, but no one's listening." So I asked him one question: what if the block isn't out there? What if it's in here? We started exploring a new mindset. Not wishful thinking, not toxic positivity, but real internal structure. We worked on how he thought, how he felt about his own worth, how he responded to silence, rejection, and doubt. He didn't wish for success. He trained his energy to match it. Months later, I got a photo. Alex, on stage, spotlight on his face, crowd in front of him, smile full of purpose. He said, "Remember that void? I think I found my way out." And that's where our journey begins today. Because manifestation isn't just about thinking positively, it's about inner discipline, emotional alignment, action guided by clarity. It's not magic, it's mental mastery. So in this episode, we'll walk through 10 powerful practices backed by ancient Stoic wisdom and modern tools to help you manifest everything you desire, not through force, but through alignment. Ready? Let's begin. Let's begin with the one truth that shapes everything. Your mind is not just a storage unit for thoughts, it's the command center of your reality. Every outcome you've ever created, every opportunity that came or didn't, every breakthrough, a beat, or heartbreak, it all passed through your mind first. Because manifestation doesn't start with vision boards or dream journals. It starts with what's happening inside your head right now. Here's how most people operate. They want big things. They want clarity, confidence, success. But they wake up each morning and hand over their attention to chaos. They scroll. They react. They absorb other people's noise before they've even checked in with themselves. And then they wonder why their day feels off, why their mind is cloudy, why their energy gets hijacked so easily. But let me say this as clearly as I can. You can't manifest anything meaningful from a mind that's overstimulated and undercentered. A chaotic mind builds a chaotic life. So, if you want to change your outcomes, you start at the source with your thoughts. Think of your mind like a garden, and your thoughts, they're seeds. What you think repeatedly will grow. Whether it's anxiety, or clarity, whether it's self-doubt or power, whether it's fear or forward momentum. If you plant judgment, worry, and comparison, don't be surprised when your inner world feels toxic. But if you plant intention, gratitude, and presence, you create a space where alignment can flourish. And here's where it gets powerful. Your brain is always listening, always adapting, always rewiring itself based on what you feed it. That's neuroplasticity. That's real, which means every single thought is either programming you toward alignment or pulling you further from it. So how do you begin shifting it? Let's not overcomplicate this. Start simple. Start small. I call it your morning mental detox. Before you check your phone, before you dive into the world's demands, take 3 intentional minutes just for yourself. 3 minutes. No noisy. No screens. Just stillness. Sit in silence. Close your eyes and observe. Let the thoughts come. You don't have to chase them. You don't have to control them. Just witness. Notice what's floating at the top of your consciousness. What's already trying to claim your day before you've even begun. This is the moment you reclaim ownership. Because you're not just watching your thoughts. You're saying to yourself, I decide what enters this space. I decide what stays. You're shifting from mental passenger to mental pilot. And once you've cleared some of the static, you create something new. Affirmations. But let's be real. Affirmations aren't about lying to yourself. They're not about pretending everything's perfect. They're about reminding your subconscious what kind of reality you're building. They're about interrupting old patterns and replacing them with conscious intention. Say it like you mean it. Say it like a command. I'm not chasing outcomes. I'm becoming someone worth attracting them. I am the architect of my inner world. I choose thoughts that align with my growth. Peace is my baseline, not chaos. I don't just want clarity, I create it. Your mind is always narrating. The question is, who's writing the script? If you don't choose the narrative, someone else. Will your fears, your past, the algorithm, other people's opinions. Affirmations are your way of writing your own story. Out loud. Every morning. Now you might be thinking, but 3 minutes, that's not enough to change my life. Maybe not in 1 day. But in 30, in 90, in 365, that's when everything changes. Because repetition rewires. And consistency compounds. You're not trying to force anything. You're training your mental environment to support what you want to receive. You're preparing the soil so that when the opportunity shows up, you don't sabotage it with fear, doubt, or unworthiness. And here's something no one tells you. Most people don't fail because their goals are too big. They fail because their minds are too cluttered to focus. They don't lack desire. They lack discipline, the discipline to manage their inner world before trying to conquer the outer one. This is why the Stoics taught stillness, why Marcus Aurelius journaled every morning, why Epictetus reminded us, you may not control events, but you can control how you meet them. It all starts with command. Mental command. So before we move on, I want you to sit with this. My mind is my command center. I plant only what I want to grow. I don't inherit my day. I design it. Say that again. Own it. Because a clear mind is not a luxury. It's your most powerful tool. And once you've taken your seat at the control panel, it's time to release the need to control everything else. Because the next level of manifestation doesn't come from holding on tighter. It comes from learning how to let go. Let's move into the second principle. Let go to receive. There's something deep inside us, a tension we carry, even when we don't notice it. It's the need to control. We want certainty. We want guarantees. We want to know that if we do A, we'll get B. But here's the truth no one wants to admit. The more you try to force life, the more it resists you. Think about the last time you clung too tightly to a person, a plan, a goal, a timeline. You felt anxious, frustrated, disconnected, because deep down, you weren't trusting. You were gripping. The Stoics had a different approach. Epictetus said, "Don't wish for events to happen as you want them to. Wish for them to happen as they do, and you will be at peace." That's not resignation. That's alignment. Stoicism doesn't teach you to give up. It teaches you to let go of illusions. And one of the biggest illusions, that you can or should control everything. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're in a small boat, rowing upstream. You're exhausted, fighting the current, straining to reach a destination that keeps slipping further away. Now, imagine you drop the oars. You breathe, and you turn the boat around. You still steer. You still guide. But now, you're moving with the current, not against it. That's the shift from control to flow, from resistance to receptivity. Manifestation is not about obsession. It's not about micromanaging every detail of the outcome. It's about setting a clear intention and then releasing the outcome's grip on your nervous system. It's saying, I know what I want, I'm doing my part, and now I trust the process to unfold in its own timing. This doesn't mean you sit on the couch and wait for miracles. It means you take action, but without desperation. You move with purpose, not panits. You allow room for synchronicity, not just strategy. You create space for life to surprise you. And often, that's when the real magic happens. So, how do you practice letting go? Start by noticing where you're gripping. Are you obsessively checking for signs that it's working? Are you constantly refreshing your inbox, watching for the text, the job offer, the thing? Are you over-planning, trying to mentally control every step before you take the first? When you catch yourself in those patterns, pause, breathe, loosen your grip, return to presence, and ask, can I stay committed without becoming attached? Because attachment says, it has to happen this way, at this time, or il fa la porte. But alignment says, I trust that what's mine will find me when I'm ready to receive it. Here's a mindset shift. Instead of trying to force an outcome, focus on becoming someone who can hold it when it arrives. Want love? Be someone who loves well. Want success? Be someone who shows up with excellence before the recognition. Want peace? Practice peace daily, in the way you breathe, move, and respond. Letting go doesn't mean losing desire. It means letting desire evolve into readiness. And here's something beautiful to remember. The universe isn't asking you to figure it all out. It's asking you to align with the energy of what you want and trust that the current will carry you there. Sometimes, life delays what you want, not because it's rejecting you, but because it's rerouting you to something better. Something you couldn't see from your limited view upstream. So instead of forcing the river, learn to flow within it. Steer. Yes. But trust the wind. So say it with me. I release control. I move with the current. I trust what's unfolding, even if I can't see it yet. This is the art of letting go. Not weakness, power in surrender. Because the moment you stop rowing upstream, you might realize you were already headed home. And once you've let go of control, you're ready to amplify the frequency that draws life toward you. Let's move into the next principle. Gratitude is your frequency anchor. Let's talk about a superpower. Most people overlook gratitude, and not the fluffy. Be grateful for what you have. Cliché. We're going deeper. Because here's the truth. Gratitude isn't a feeling, it's a frequency. And the moment you tune into it, you unlock the door to receiving more. You could have the perfect strategy, the boldest goal, the most detailed vision board. But if you operate from a place of lack, from I'm not enough, from I need more to feel whole, from why isn't it here yet you're energetically blocking the very things you want. Gratitude shifts that. It's like tuning your inner radio from static and scarcity to signal clarity and reception. Let me put it like this. Imagine you're throwing a dinner party. One guest walks in and immediately complains. This place is too small. The food's just okay. I thought there'd be more people. Now another guest arrives. Same food, same music, same room. But they're smiling, grateful, present. Who would you invite back? The universe works the same way. When you show up with real gratitude, not performative, not forced, but genuine appreciation for what is, you become magnetic. You don't just attract more. You become more receptive, more generous, more aligned. So how do you build this kind of gratitude? Not the one you only practice when life feels good, but the kind that transforms your energy every day. Here's a simple ritual. Each night, write down 3 small things you're grateful for. Not the big, obvious stuff. Go deeper. The texture of your blanket, the quiet moment between tasks, the smile from a stranger that you almost missed. This is how you train your nervous system to see what's right, not just what's missing. And over time, something powerful happens. You stop chasing fulfillment because you start living it. But we're not stopping there. There's a second layer to this frequency, and it's one most people skip. Gratitude plus generosity equals expansion. When you're truly grateful, you naturally want to give, not to prove something, not to look good, not from guilt, but from abundance, from overflow. You give because you can. You share because you have enough. You support because someone once supported you. Even the smallest acts, a kind word, a shared insight, a moment of presence, carry energy, and that energy ripples outward. Here's a mantra I live by. Give from gratitude, not from guilt, because giving from guilt is draining. It's performative. It's tied to self-worth and people-pleasing. But giving from gratitude, that's sacred. It expands both the giver and the receiver. And ironically, it places you in the exact emotional state that attracts more into your life. You don't have to believe in karma or cosmic equations. Just observe it. When you live in gratitude, you see more. You feel more. You receive more. Let me offer a challenge. For 1 week, start and end your day with gratitude. Morning. Name one thing you're grateful for before touching your phone. Night, write 3 things that made today worth living. Bonus. Do one small act of generosity daily without telling anyone. No credit, no spotlight, just service. Then notice how your energy changes, how your mindset softens, how your tension begins to unwind. Because gratitude isn't just emotional hygiene, it's energetic calibration. It moves you from, why isn't it happening yet, to, I'm already living in the flow. And that shift, that's what accelerates everything. So let's anchor this in. I don't wait for more to be grateful. I'm grateful, so I become open to more. I give from overflow. I receive without clinging. And I move through life, grounded in enoughness. Now that you've raised your frequency, it's time to align it even deeper through the stories you're telling yourself and the energy you're broadcasting. Let's move to the next principle, reframe your energy. Not just your thoughts. Let's clear something up right now. The law of attraction isn't think it and it shows up. It's not a mental vending machine. It's about energetic alignment, the match between what you desire and the emotional environment you live in daily. Because it's not just the thoughts you think, it's the energy you bring into every room, every moment, every decision. You can say all the affirmations you want, but if your nervous system is stuck in stress, if your emotions are rooted in fear or doubt, you're not broadcasting attraction. You're sending out confusion. Here's the truth. Your life doesn't reflect what you want. It reflects who you are emotionally, consistently. That's why it's not enough to just reframe your thoughts. You have to reframe your energy state, your emotional baseline, your emotional home. Everyone has one. Some people live in worry. Even when nothing's wrong, they scan for danger. Others live in anger, or judgment, or overwhelm. And here's the kicker. You can get so used to those emotions. They feel normal, comfortable, even. But comfortable doesn't equal constructive. So if you want to manifest different outcomes, you don't just shift your mindset. You upgrade your emotional residence. Let's make this practical. Start by identifying your inner story. Not the one you post on Instagram. The one you repeat in your head when things go quiet. Things never work out for me. I have to do everything alone. I'm behind. If I let my guard down, I'll get hurt. No matter what I do, it's not enough. These stories are powerful, not because they're true, but because you believe them energetically. They create a loop. Thought, emotion, behavior, result. Thought again. So, if you want to break the loop, you have to rewrite the story at the emotional level. Here's how you do that. Spot the narrative. What's the repeating pattern or belief you're carrying? Feel the energy beneath it. Does it feel tight? Heavy, protective, defensive? Pause. Breathe. Reframe. Ask, what's the upgraded version of this belief that actually empowers me? Then speak it out. I'm not behind, I'm in process. I don't have to force it, I just have to align. I am safe to soften, safe to receive. Good things happen to me, and through me. This isn't about faking positivity. It's about consciously choosing a new emotional baseline to live from day after day. Think of it like updating your home. You don't just repaint the walls and leave the mold underneath. You gut the old wiring. You upgrade the insulation. You make it a place that actually supports who you're becoming. That's what reframing your energy is. It's renovating your internal environment so it no longer repels what you're asking for. And this shift takes practice. You'll fall back into old emotions sometimes. You'll want to retreat to old stories. That's okay. The goal isn't perfection, it's awareness and return. Keep returning to your new emotional home until it becomes your default. And here's the deeper truth. Attraction is not about effort. It's about frequency. When your emotional energy aligns with your desires, you stop chasing, you start attracting. You don't have to knock on locked doors. The right ones start opening. You show up calmer, clearer, magnetic, and life begins to meet you at the level you've chosen to live at. So, here's your anchor. I upgrade the story I live in. I move from fear to flow. I don't just think different, I feel different. This is where real attraction starts. Not in the mind, but in the emotional vibration you carry through the world. And once you've rewritten the inner script, it's time to deepen the roots of that energy into the now, into the space where everything real begins, the present moment. Let's move into the next principle, mindful abundance. Here's something you don't hear often in the world of manifestation. You don't have to go faster to receive more. You just have to become more present. In a world that worships speed, more hustle, more content, more achievement, we often overlook the most abundant place of all. Right now, this exact moment, this breath, this sip of water, this ray of sunlight warming your face. We miss it because we're always reaching for the next thing. But what if abundance isn't something you chase? What if it's something you tune into? That's what mindfulness offers you. Not just the ability to slow down, but the power to recognize how much is already here. Because here's the truth. The present moment is not empty. It's overflowing. Overflowing with beauty, opportunity, connection, sensation, clarity. But you have to slow down enough to notice. Let me offer you a shift in practice. You don't need 30 minutes of meditation. You don't need to sit cross-legged in a temple. Just start cultivating what I call slow moments in your day. Moments where you bring 100% of your attention to something incredibly ordinary. When you drink a glass of water, pause. Feel the coolness. the movement, the life in it. When you wash your hands, slow down. Notice the temperature, the texture, the small act of care. When you walk outside, don't rush. Feel your feet touch the ground. Let the wind hit your face. Listen. These tiny, quiet rituals are where your energy resets, where your mind unclenches, where your spirit realigns. They remind your body and brain. There is no lack here. There is only now, and now is enough. And here's the magic most people miss. When you train yourself to see abundance in the small things, you become an energetic match for bigger things. Why? Because you've proven to the universe and to yourself that you can recognize value before it becomes obvious. You can hold presence before outcomes. You can embody peace before achievement. That's powerful. That's magnetic. Here's how the cycle flows. Mindfulness brings you into the moment. The moment reveals something beautiful you would have missed. That beauty sparks gratitude. Gratitude expands your energy. That energy becomes a magnet for more of the same. Presence, awareness, appreciation, attraction. Suddenly, life doesn't feel like a race. It feels like a ceremony, a sacred unfolding. So what if you treated everyday moments like a ceremony of gratitude, lighting a candle as you sit to write, slowing down your breath before opening your laptop, savoring your coffee like it's the only cup you'll have this week? These aren't chores. They're access points to richness, calm, and receptivity. Mindful abundance is the ability to look around your current life and say, there is already so much here. I receive it fully. I don't need to rush into more to feel whole. Ironically, it's this enoughness that attracts more. Because when you stop chasing, you start radiating. And that frequency, that's when life starts flowing to you, not just through you. Let this be your anchor. I slow down. I see more. I receive fully. Each moment is a gateway to abundance. You don't need to escape your life to feel wealthy. You just need to meet it more fully, more gently, more now. And once you're grounded in presence, you're ready to step into deeper alignment, not just with what you want, but with who you're becoming. Let's move into the next principle: sleep, stillness, and subconscious power. There's a moment most people waste without realizing it. It happens in the dark when the world quiets, when the scroll ends, and you're finally alone with your thoughts. That moment, right before sleep, it's not just the end of a day. It's an invitation, a sacred opening. Because while your body drifts into rest, your subconscious mind is just beginning to work. And what you give it before sleep becomes the script it runs until morning. Most people fall asleep, reacting to one last message, one last scroll, one last worry. They carry the noise of the world into the night and wonder why they wake up feeling misaligned. But there's a different way. A quieter, wiser, stronger way. What if sleep wasn't a shutdown but a setup? What if rest isn't just where you recover but where you rewire? You see, your subconscious doesn't care what's true. It only cares what's repeated. So, if you end your day in fear, scarcity, or frustration, you've handed the keys to that energy. and it will build your tomorrow accordingly. But if you end your day in trust, peace, gratitude, you plant seeds that bloom while you dream. No effort, no striving, just a gentle return to alignment. Here's a new rhythm to try. Not a checklist, not a to-do, just a soft ceremony. Dim the lights, silence the notifications. Breathe deeper than you have all day. And in that stillness, choose your final thought. Not what went wrong, not what didn't get done, but what you're ready to welcome. Maybe it's clarity. Maybe it's healing. Maybe it's the quiet belief that it's already on its way. You don't need to know how. You don't even need to believe it 100%. You just need to whisper it into the dark. Let your pillow hold the weight. Let your nervous system exhale. Let your soul listen. Some nights, you might want to visualize not the perfect life, but a moment of alignment. You in your zone, your higher self making moves, your face calm, your energy rooted. Feel it, not as a fantasy, but as a frequency. Other nights, maybe it's silence, still, quiet, a surrender without a script. That's okay too. Gratitude, peace, affirmation, breath. They're not bedtime fluff. They're energetic downloads. They speak to your subconscious in its native tongue. They become your emotional software. They do the work while you rest. That's not laziness. That's intelligent manifestation. And if you want to go deeper, let a soft affirmation audio play in the background. Nothing loud, just a whisper on loop. Let your subconscious drift to the rhythm of enoughness. I am safe. I am ready. I am already becoming. Good things are finding me even in stillness. I sleep in trust. I rise in power. Because here's the shift. Dreams are not escape. They are instruction. The more intentional you become with how you fall asleep, the more magnetic your waking life becomes. It's not about hacks. It's about how you close the day. Don't let stress write the script. Write your own. Speak gently to your inner world. Sleep like someone who knows they are guided. And rise like someone who's already aligned. And once your nights become sacred, your mornings won't just be routine. They'll be ignition. Let's move into the next principle. Design the day before the world does it for you. Manifestation isn't just what you think. It's what you see and what you're willing to feel as if it were already true. There's a language deeper than words. A blueprint you carry beneath the surface, and it's written in images, emotions, and energy. This is why visualization works. Not because the universe owes you something when you daydream, but because your nervous system responds to what you mentally rehearse as if it's already happening. Your brain can't tell the difference between imagination and memory, so when you visualize with clarity and emotion, you're creating a new memory from the future, and you begin to move in alignment with that version of reality. But here's where most people miss the power of this tool. They visualize outcomes, cars, numbers, applause, freedom, but they forget to embody the energy of the person who lives there. The goal isn't just to picture the dream, it's to feel what it's like to belong inside it. So when you close your eyes, you don't just see the house, you feel the steadiness of peace in your chest. You don't just see the partner, you feel what it's like to love and be loved without armor. You don't just see success, you feel the power of having earned it, step by step, without needing permission. Visualization is not just a wish, it's rehearsal. And every time you do it with presence, you're training your body to believe this is safe, this is real, this is mine. And suddenly, your actions start to change. Not because you're forcing them, but because the internal blueprint is shifting. You're not waiting to become that person. You've already started living as them. And that's when momentum shows up. That's when alignment becomes natural. And reality begins to bend. If you want to amplify this practice, add breath to it. Breathe into the vision. Let your body soften as you hold it. Don't grip. Don't beg. Don't hope. Receive. Let it be more of a remembering than a reaching. Let it be a reunion between your current self and your future self. That version of you, they already exist. Your job is to meet them, one breath at a time. So the next time you close your eyes, try this. Don't just ask, "What do I want?" Ask, "What would it feel like if I already had it? How would I stand? How would I speak? How would I breathe? And what's one thing I can do today that aligns with that frequency?" Because manifestation is not about daydreaming. It's about remembering who you're capable of being and walking toward it with grace. Over and over again. You don't visualize to escape. You visualize to remember what's real beneath the noise. So see it clearly. Feel it fully. And then let go, knowing the arrival is already underway. Now that your vision is alive in your system, it's time to explore the final, often overlooked force in manifestation. Stillness. Silence. Connection to the unseen. Let's step into the quiet power, where everything begins. Every building begins as a drawing. Every masterpiece starts as a sketch. So why do we try to build our lives without ever crafting the blueprint? Visualization isn't a cute trick. It's mental architecture. A way of designing your future with enough clarity that your nervous system begins to trust it, not as a fantasy, but as an inevitability. The problem is, most people visualize like tourists. They float through vague images, hoping something sticks. But true manifestation, the kind that pulls your future toward you, requires more than a snapshot. It requires precision. It requires emotion. It requires embodiment. Not just what you want, but how it feels to live inside it. Who you are when you wake up in it. What choices you naturally make because it's now your reality. So don't just see the goal. See the you who's already in the room. What energy do you bring when you're not trying to prove anything? How do you move when fear is no longer steering? How do you speak when you've accepted you belong? Feel it. As clearly as you'd remember a kiss, a loss, a victory. Because your subconscious responds best not to language, but to sensation. Here's how to deepen the practice. Pair your visualization with your breath. Let your inhales carry you into the vision. Let your exhales ground it into your body. This isn't fantasy. It's a dialogue with your future. And if you want a guide, Try a visualization meditation, just 10 minutes of stillness, where someone else leads you home to your highest self. Let the words paint the image. Let the image shift your frequency. Let your body memorize success before it arrives. Because the real magic happens when your body begins to act as if the future you desire is already present. That's not pretending. That's priming. And the brain loves patterns, so it starts creating circumstances that match. One more thing. Don't just visualize the outcome, visualize the process. See yourself staying focused when it's hard. See yourself walking away from what no longer fits. See yourself in moments of doubt, choosing alignment anyway. This creates trust, not just in the universe, but in you. And that trust, that's what carries vision into reality. Here's your anchor. Thought, I build it first in stillness, then live it out loud. I don't wait to feel ready. I practice the feeling until I become it. What I can see and feel, I can become. So, close your eyes. Step into the blueprint. Let your breath open the door. And, as you rise, let the world meet the version of you who's already seen what's coming and knows exactly how it feels to stand inside it. Once the vision is anchored, you're ready for the final quiet edge, the power of stillness and connection, the kind of silence that doesn't shrink you, but makes you magnetic. Let's step into it next. There's a tool you've carried with you since the day you were born. It doesn't cost anything. It doesn't require training. And yet, it has the power to reset your entire system in seconds. It's your breath. Not the shallow, distracted kind we default to when life moves too fast, but the deep, intentional breath, the kind that reminds your nervous system who's in charge. Every thought, every reaction, every decision happens in a state of energy, and your breath is the dial that shifts that frequency. When your mind races, you can breathe yourself into clarity. When your heart tightens, you can exhale into space. When life pulls you into reactivity, you can anchor yourself back into intention. Breath is not just oxygen. It's the language of presence. And presence is power. Because if you're not present, you're not choosing, you're just reacting, repeating, spinning. But one slow inhale held with awareness, and suddenly you're back. Not in the past, not in the next spiral, just here. And from here, you can move forward in your own rhythm. This isn't just poetic, it's physiological. Breathing deeply signals safety to your brain. It turns down the stress hormones. It turns up clarity, confidence, and groundedness. It's like turning the dial from static to signal, from chaos to coherence. That's why every spiritual practice, ancient philosophy, and modern performance, science all agree on one thing: control your breath, and you reclaim control of your life. So how do you use it? You don't need to overthink it. But try experimenting with what your body responds to. Box breathing. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. It's calming, centering, a nervous system reset in real time. Alternate nostril breathing. Left in, right out, right in, left out. Used for balance, clarity, and connecting both hemispheres of your brain. Simple, mindful breath. Inhale through the nose. Feel it travel all the way down to your belly. Hold it. Exhale slowly and fully, like you're releasing what no longer fits. You'll notice something. The breath creates a pause, and in that pause, you return to power. Think of your breath as a return key on a keyboard. Every time the world drags you off course, a conversation, a memory, an emotion, you don't need to fight it. Just breathe and come home to the present. Come home to yourself, because your breath is the bridge between who you were and who you're becoming. Here's your quiet affirmation. I don't chase calm. I create it with each breath. When the world speeds up, I slow down. I stay. I am here, and here is enough. Let your breath guide your return. Let it tune your frequency. Let it remind you you're already enough when you're present. And now that you've returned to stillness, there's one final space to enter. The one most people avoid. The one that holds the deepest magnetism, silence. Let's step into it not to escape the world, but to become unshakable within it. There's a sound you haven't heard enough of lately. Not because it's rare, but because it gets drowned out. It's not a podcast, not a notification, not a voice message from the outside. It's you, the deeper you, the one who doesn't shout, but whispers, and you only hear it. In silence. Silence is not empty. It's a portal to clarity, to alignment, to guidance you didn't even know you needed. In silence, the deeper self doesn't just speak, it instructs. But we rarely enter that space, because the modern world trains us to fill every pause. Scroll here, click there, distract now. Even meditation has become something to optimize. But silence is sacred. The Stoics weren't loud men. They didn't chase applause. They wrote in journals, walked in gardens, and sought wisdom in stillness. Because they understood this, silence is not absence. It's access. Access to what's real, to what's unresolved, to what's quietly waiting underneath all the doing. When you remove the noise, you start to hear your intuition again. Not your fear, not your doubt, but that steady, subtle pull that says, this is the way. Keep going. You already know. Here's a quiet shift to reclaim just 10 minutes a day. No phone, no input, no multitasking. It could be a digital detox walk, no earbuds, no playlists, just feet on ground and breath in chest. Or a slow journal entry without a prompt. Let your hand move. Let your thoughts spill. Don't try to sound wise. Just be honest. You'll be surprised what rises. Truths that have been waiting. Ideas that come when they don't have to compete. Peace that's been there the whole time, just covered in clutter. Silence is not punishment. It's a tuning fork. The longer you sit in it, the clearer your resonance becomes. You begin to remember what actually matters, what's actually yours to carry. and what you can finally, gently, set down. This isn't withdrawal. It's return. Here's a gentle reminder. Silence isn't a void. It's where the noise finally makes sense. So stop treating it like a space to escape. Start treating it like the meeting ground of your inner world. Because in silence, manifestation becomes more than a technique. It becomes integration. You align not just with what you want, but with who you've always been underneath the noise. So next time the world rushes in, don't rush back. Pause. Breathe. Listen. And let the answers find you in the space they've always lived inside. Unrushed, undistracted, unshakable. And now, the circle is complete. You've walked through every gate: mind, breath, stillness, vision, gratitude, surrender. So the question is no longer, can I manifest? The real question is, which of these 10 powers will I sharpen today? Let's land this message with intention. It's time for the final whisper. After all these tools, after all this clarity, the truth is simple. Mastery doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing one thing deeply. So don't feel pressure to remember every technique. Don't try to stack all 10 tomorrow morning. You're not here to perform. You're here to transform. And transformation doesn't happen from information overload. It happens from embodiment. One small shift. One honest practice. Repeated. So, here's your challenge. Pick one. One practice that stirred something in you, that tugged gently at your core. Maybe it was the breath. Maybe it was the silence. Maybe it was the way you suddenly saw mornings, not as routine, but as a portal. Choose that one. And for the next 7 days, live it. No pressure to be perfect. Just presence. Write about it. Reflect on it. Let it seep into the cracks of your day. Notice how you speak, how you move, how you choose. Each principle in this video is a spiritual weapon, a silent blade forged in clarity, ready for the chaos of life. And the way you sharpen it is not in theory, but in practice. You don't need more noise. You need more depth. Let others chase trends. You go deeper into one truth. One act of alignment. One piece of inner power that you've finally claimed as yours. And watch how much changes, not because you tried harder, but because you lived truer. Now I'll leave you with a question. One that turns this from a passive video into an active vow. Which one of the 10 resonated most with you, and how will you practice it this week? Share it below. Not just for yourself, but to inspire someone else who might be searching for a way back to their power. Your comment could be their turning point. Your practice could remind them they're not alone. We're not here to perform for each other. We're here to practice side by side, silently, powerfully, consistently. And now, before you go, one final whisper to carry into your day. Let it echo in the silence that follows. Your thoughts shape reality. Your breath anchors it, and your silence amplifies it. Now go live it. Fade to black, stillness, and the subtle hum of someone finally coming home to themselves.